Alright, today we're going to learn how to paint a vineyard. Alright, the question of the day is, what is the origin of champagne? Alright, let's run through the color.
Quin red, pearly red, primary yellow, cad yellow, red oxide, ultramarine blue, quin blue, phthalo green, titanium white, Mars black.
Alright, today we're going to learn how to paint a vineyard.
Ocean's gentle hand. Through the sunrise I will thrive. Getting out alive, getting out alive. When you find that open door, you gotta let them love you more. Tender hearts will always fight the darkness of the light.
Alright, we just finished. Let's take a closer look. So we have these really nice kind of purplish dark clouds on top, almost like storm clouds, and it goes into this really brilliant after hour sunset, you know, after the sun's already down, but there's still like that evening glow. We have kind of this suggestion of vineyard leaves, which I used a really big brush to kind of get those feel of a leaf. I think that's working pretty well. I wasn't really convinced earlier on, but I think it worked really well. Added some branches in there to kind of make it look like it's some kind of plant. And you have this kind of background grass, which I think... So Champagne is a special wine originated from the Champagne district in France, well, province called Champagne. And in France, they only limit it to Champagne. Anything outside of that is called sparkling wine or something else. Hence, you have multiple names for the same thing across Europe. Sparkling wine, the names escape me, but there's at least 5 or 6 different names because of the EU regulation. In the States, you're allowed to call it champagne, but it's not the real champagne, supposedly. And what happened was, in Champagne, they wanted to grow red wines like similar in the south of France or Italy, but because of the climate, it wasn't really conducive to growing red wines. The grapes wouldn't grow fast enough and become sweet enough. So what they did is kind of a double fermentation process, and they would ferment in the bottle, and then they'd also add sugar into the bottle, and it would ferment further. But still, that wasn't the final process, because they had to invent a special cork that's very extreme for champagne to actually keep the champagne in the bottle without it popping out. And that was considered a defect for a long time, until basically the 1800s, and they kind of modernized the process, so to say. And then over time, I think in 1824, they started to lessen the sweetness of the champagne. It used to be all sweet champagne, and they made a champagne brut, which is considered the dry champagne, and that became more popular over time. And you'll notice with many alcohol trends over hundreds of years, they'll have trends between sweet and dry depending on kind of where the economy is. If it's kind of a young, brand new culture or brand new change in the economy, it might be on a sweeter side. Wise, it's a very stable kind of empire status where you're really stable. That probably tends to be to the drier side. You see that with sake as well as with things such as champagne. And that's the question of the day. Is okay. Overall, I like this pretty well. It has a really good composition of kind of right on the thirds line for the post. Also, the sunset's about, it's probably right in the middle of the painting, but it is in that thirds line. So again, that kind of pulls in You got all the kind of clouds pulling down to that point, and then you have this green kind of to contrast all the purples and reds. So I think overall it works pretty well. Maybe I could have made the land a little more tan, so to say. I kind of stuck to the real colors, but maybe a little bit of a tan color would kind of make that pop a little more against the green. Overall, I think it's pretty successful. I like it quite a lot. Out of the 4, I think it's probably the strongest. Hopefully you guys like it. Give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see the full version, check my Patreon account. If you'd like to subscribe, you can subscribe below. And I'll see you in the next painting video, guys. Thanks for watching.
Will thrive, getting out alive, getting out alive.